So lesson 16, finding slopes and equations of lines. The slope of a line is just how steep it is. It's going to be represented by a number, and it's the rise over the run between any 2 points on the line. So the equation to find this slope is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So it's the change in y divided by the change in x. So we're going to do an example here. You'll draw a line through the point -2, -2, and the point 4, 2. If we were to say that this point, the -2, -2 is our x sub 1, y sub 1, so our first point, and this is our x sub 2, y sub 2 for the point 4, 2, we could use the formula x sub 2 minus, y sub 2 minus y sub 1, which is 2 minus a -2. Divided by x sub 2, which is 4 minus x sub 1. So we have 4, 6, or 2/3. And if you notice, this point is at -2 on the y-axis, and this one is at 2. So in between those two is our rise. We went up 4 units. And then we can go straight across from -2 on the x over to the 4. So it went, we run right 6 units. And what's your question?
Never mind.
For reals?
Yeah.
Okay. So the slope is rise over run. Now if you were to drop down and go to the right, it would be a negative slope because our rise would be negative and our run would be positive. So if you go to the right, it's positive, to the left, it's negative, up is positive, and down is negative. So if we are driving, if we have a line that is going up from left to right, it has a positive slope. So I like to think about the car driving up the line, so the slope will be positive. If it is going downhill from left to right, the slope would be negative.
Seems like the car is gaining altitude, and then the car is
Yes, gaining altitude, losing altitude, negative.
and my car looks like a duck.
Okay, so if it's just a vertical line, the slope is 0. And so that just means the car can go in either direction. So I just do this as a two-sided. Front can go either way. And the equation of a vertical line looks like y equals a number. So if there's not an x in it and it's just y equals 3 or y equals 2/3, then it will be a vertical line. And the slope of a No, that's horizontal line. Did I say vertical? Like, I meant horizontal. Vertical line is the one that has undefined slope. So the car cannot even drive on. Okay. So that's undefined, and the equation looks like x equals a number. So whatever number x is, that's the number the line's going to go through on the x-axis. And then on this one, same thing. Y equals whatever number it is, it goes through that number on the y-axis. Okay, I'm turning the page. I am right now. Can you see me? Okay, here we go. Turn. Okay. So we can have, we're going to talk about equations of lines in slope-intercept form.
Is that just y equals mx plus b?
Yes, it is just y equals mx plus b. Now the y and the x are the variables. M stands for the slope, and b is the y-intercept. That just means the point on the y-axis that is also on the line. So if there's not a number there, then it goes through the origin, 0, 0. So if we want to graph using the slope-intercept form, if we had an example here, y equals 4x plus 7, slope is 4, which we can write as a fraction, 4 over 1, so that we have our rise and our run, and then our y-intercept would be 7. When we graph, we start with the y-intercept, so we can have at least one point to go from for our slope. So we can go up 7 on the y-axis, put a point, that's on our line, and then we're going to go up 4 and to the right 1. Or we could go down 4 and to the left 1. If they're both negative, then it's still positive slope. And that would be our line in slope-intercept. Here's an example of a I'm going to give you a point slope formula. So if you are given 1 point on the line and the slope, you can use this formula to get to your equation. And it's y minus y sub 1 equals m for slope and x minus x sub 1 in parentheses. So the x sub 1 and y sub 1 is your point, and m would be your slope. The y and the x are your variables that stay the same. So let's do an example. Write an equation of a line through 0, 1, and 2, 7 in slope-intercept form. So we can use our point slope formula because they gave us points and a slope. We could use 0, 1 for our point. And we have to find our slope, but they didn't give us slope. did I say they did? They didn't. So we have to find slope. M equals 7 minus 1 over 2 minus 0, or 6 halves, which reduces to 3. So our slope is 3. We can maybe use this point in our slope. Use the point slope formula. So y minus 1 equals 3 in parentheses x minus 0. If it didn't say in slope-intercept form, you could leave it this way, because that's an equation of a line. But since it says slope-intercept form, we have to add 1 to both sides. Get y equals 3x plus 1, and that's our equation. That's the end of the lesson.